Chicago, Chicago, not my kind of town. You see the great Michael Jordan with his number retired and all that? It wouldn't be too long until his number would be unretired. But anyway, Michael Jordan was a legend in Chicago. In the 1990s, you knew his name and you knew his thing. Anyway, the Chicago Bulls started out life in the 1960s as an expansion team. They actually had a team called the Chicago Siffers, but they moved to Washington in part to become the Washington Bullets. No, Baltimore to be the Baltimore Bulls, and then they moved to Washington. But anyway, the Ciphers left town. Chicago got lucky. They got an expansion team, and they got a very good scorer by the name of Bob Butterbean Love. The Bulls are known for notorious NBA draft fucking up. When they had the first pick in the 1972 draft, and they picked up LaRue Martin. Oh, no, wait, that was Portland. I thought it was Chicago who picked up LaRue Martin first overall and fucked up. I know LaRue was from Illinois, Loyola, Illinois. But, oh, I thought it was Chicago. My bad. But anyway, yeah, I'm one take. I don't like to redo these things. So anyway, I go to. So anyway, Chicago was a decent team in the 1970s. They picked up Artis Gilmore for a few years, and even Bob Lanier for a few years. So the Bulls weren't that bad. But the Bulls were bad enough that in 1984 that they got the third overall pick in the draft. After Portland won the coin flip to go first, Portland decided to use their first pick on Sam Bowie, pretty much because, Portland needed a center. I won't get too far into the Portland thing, the Sam Bowie thing, until I hit Portland, and that'll be in 2 videos from now. So anyway, the Chicago Bulls got third. Houston knew they needed a power forward center to help Ralph Sampson out. So they got Hakeem Olajuwon from Houston University. That's not half bad. I mean, after all, he's been playing for Houston Rockets. And then Chicago picked Michael Jordan. A lot of people said, why didn't Houston pick number 2 and got MJ? I don't know. But anyway, Houston made the right move. Olajuwon was a key player for the Rockets in the early 90s. So fuck you. So anyway, the Chicago Bulls put a lot on Michael Jordan's shoulders, and he delivered. He did pretty well in his first NBA game in New York. He did very well. But in 1986, he got hurt. People forget that he had a massive leg injury in 1986 that ruined his season. But MJ persevered and played out the last few games of the 86 regular season. And then against the Boston Celtics in the first round of the Eastern Conference West, he went off like a shot. He put a 63-point game on Boston. But unfortunately, it was in double overtime. And the Bulls lost to the Celtics by 4 points. Celtics easily swept that series. But the Bulls kept going. The Bulls in 1987 struck a deal to send Olden Polynice, a center from Chicago to Seattle, for the rights to Scottie Pippen from Central Arkansas. That was an amazing draft day trade that rocked everyone. They put Pippen in the starting lineup, and he played like he was a starter. So anyway, Jordan and Pippen aside, the Bulls didn't really have much playoff success. But in 1989, in Game 5, where the first rounds were best of 5, in Cleveland, Jordan took the shot. I forget who the guy is, the Bulls play-by-play guy, who said this, but Jordan for the shot good. Bulls win. Bulls win. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 107-105. 19,000 people at Richfield Coliseum are going home unhappy. Something like that. It was amazing. Yeah, the radio call was much better than the Dick Stockton call for CBS. But anyway, the Bulls won that series, but lost to the Detroit Pistons in the second round. The Bulls would have troubles dealing with the Detroit Pistons again in the 1990 playoffs. But in 1991, Chicago decided to use reverse psychology on Detroit and basically not be intimidated by basically giving the trash talk back to Detroit. And Detroit couldn't handle it. Detroit got wilted and all that. So anyway, the Bulls did their job, went to the 91 NBA Finals against the LA Lakers with Magic and James Worthy still around. No Kareem because he went out 2 years earlier. And then you had to deal with Sam Perkins and Vladdy Divac at center for the Lakers. Michael Jordan delivered, even though he lost game one by missing a last-second shot. He didn't get phased. And in game two, he did that famous fadeaway, look away with both hands and all that. However, people forget that he had been ready to dunk, but he knew Sam Perkins was going to block it, so he switched hands to fool Perkins, who was ironically a North Carolina teammate of his. So anyway, MJ did his job, and then they won 3 straight games in LA, and the Bulls won the NBA championship. So anyway, the Bulls looked good. 92, they did pretty well. The Knicks took them to a game 7, but the Bulls didn't falter. The Bulls then won game 1 thanks to MJ putting up 6 3-pointers, which shocked Portland and shocked Magic Johnson, who was doing color commentary. Or no, I think it was Isaiah. No, it couldn't be Isaiah. Magic Johnson doing color commentary and doing the famous shrug. The Bulls went on to take down the Blazers in 6 games. And in 93, the Chicago Bulls three-peated. But the Knicks gave them a hard time in the Eastern Finals. The Bulls actually lost the famous triple overtime game at home to the Suns. But in game 6, they hit the winning three-pointer with less than 5 seconds left in the game. It was not Michael Jordan. People forget about that. It was Notre Dame's own Johnny Paxson who hit the 3-ball at the buzzer. Ugh. Nobody anticipated Paxson taking the shot. He was wide open. So anyway, John Paxson was the hero. So the Bulls were good. And everyone said, who could stop Michael Jordan in the Bulls? Michael Jordan himself. On the same day as the Blue Jays White Sox game 1 of the LCS, MJ did his retirement stuff. A lot of people were like, how could MJ retire on top of his game? Did he lose the drive and all that? A lot of conspiracies flew. But anyway, the 94 season is the what if for the Bulls, so I'm skipping it for now. I'll tell you about that later. In 95, the Bulls were doing decent, but then the Bulls got a big announcement. MJ was coming back to the Bulls, mostly because of the baseball player strike ending, and also a threat for replacement players if the players didn't agree to it. Michael Jordan did not want to break ranks with his new teammates, so he basically said, I'd rather go back to basketball than be a baseball replacement player, even though MJ could have played in the major leagues. MJ was not that good in the Southern League, but in the Arizona League, he got a little better, but not all better. So anyway, MJ came back to Chicago. He took number 45 because his 23 was up in the Raptors. I don't remember why 45. I think that was a high school number or something like that. But anyway, MJ played well with the 45. He even had a 55-point game at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. I think it was his 3rd game back. Pacers was the first one. So anyway, MJ did well. But when they played the Magic in the NBA quarterfinals, MJ lost it. After losing game 1 of the series, he decided to go from 45 to 23 to try to get his Magic back. Unfortunately, the league was pissy at him for doing that. So they basically said, no, changing your numbers without a fine. So he took the fine. MJ did his job, and unfortunately, the Magic took him out in 6. So MJ felt bad. It was the first time in 5 years he lost the playoff series. So anyway, like he did. We all know in 94 that he didn't play for the Bulls. Cream cheese. So in 1996, the Chicago Bulls. So in 1996, things looked different. MJ was back to playing basketball full time, and the Bulls put up magical numbers: 72 wins and 10 losses. That was fucking amazing. 72 wins in one season. Of course, you know that now the records with the 2016 Warriors were 73 wins, but 17 and 10. And the funny thing is the Bulls could have had single-digit losses in that season if it weren't for the Raptors-inspired play at the Sky Dome, March 1996. I think it's the 23rd of March, or the 22nd of March. But wait, I remember watching that at home on my farm and amazed that MJ lost to the Toronto Raptors. Like, the expansion Raptors took care of the Bulls. The Bulls did fine in the playoffs and all that. Didn't let anything get to them. Seattle made it an interesting series against the Bulls. but MJ won it in Game 6 on Father's Day, no less. Of course, if you know about Michael Jordan's father, which I will allude to in the What If part of the thing, you'll know what I mean. 97, MJ did better. But 97 was full of a couple of major buzzer beaters against the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals. MJ did the buzzer beater in Game 1. That buzzer beater in Game 5 was Steve Kerr. Game 6 was Steve Kerr, not MJ. MJ was double guarded. He knew he had to throw it away and gave it to Kerr, who put the winning bucket in. Steve Kerr is a fantastic basketball player, even if he wasn't coach of the Golden State Warriors. So anyway, Steve Kerr got his title. Great job by MJ not being so selfish. 98, MJ was breaking down a little bit, but people will never forget his famous shot in Game 6 to beat the Jazz and send the Bulls to their 6th NBA title of the decade. Of course, a lot of people said that MJ should have been called for an offensive foul for bumping Brian Russell out of the way. And agree. So MJ lost his competitive fires and left the team again. And the Bulls decimated their lineup. They couldn't go without MJ. So basically, they were nothing. The Bulls had a few decent picks, but they couldn't really pull it together. However, they struck gold in 2008 by winning the NBA draft lottery and dealing with Derrick Rose from Memphis, who was just off a shocking loss in the NBA championship to Kansas. It would actually be a moot point because Memphis was stripped of its 2008 finals appearance for some kind of booster stuff. So Memphis thankfully didn't have to give back a title. So anyway, the 2008 Bulls look good. Derrick Rose was just getting it on. And Derrick Rose played well. He was MVP in 2012. His Bulls were number 1 in the East, not LeBron and his Heat, the Bulls. But sadly, though, they lost in the first round to the Sixers in 6 games. Next to Iggy Pop, Andre Iguodala, and Derrick Rose's knee injury that really cost him dearly because his health just deteriorated for a couple of years. And what might have been Derrick Rose in Chicago leading the Bulls maybe to a title with Michael Jordan. By the way, the Bulls never made the NBA Finals, other than the 6 times Jordan won it for them, which was amazing, 6-0. They're just like the Colorado Avalanche, Toronto Blue Jays, and Baltimore Ravens. The best records in history, finals history, without losing a finals. So yeah, the Bulls are 6-0 lifetime. Look it up, people. So anyway, the Chicago Bulls went on live without Derrick Rose and haven't really done too well. So let's talk about the 1994 Chicago Bulls. And the fact that, of course, MJ retired just before training camp in 93. People speculated what the fuck Michael Jordan was doing. Was he just tired of winning all the time? Did he want a challenge and they wouldn't go for him? A lot of things would happen. The 94 Bulls plodded along without him, winning 55 games. Very manageable. The Bulls got to the Eastern Finals against the New York Knicks when Scottie Pippen refused to get on the floor for Game 4 of the series because he wasn't getting the play he wanted. Kukoc, thankfully, sunk the shot to win the game. So anyway, the 94 Bulls got to the finals against the Knicks. But Game 7, Scottie Pippen had a 3-ball that was ticked away just at the last second by Patrick Ewing, and the Bulls ended up winning the game. The Bulls were pissed off. The 94 Bulls deserved better. Of course, the controversies about MJ's retirement there was a couple of reasons. Number 1 was his gambling problems. He was alleged to have been at Atlantic City before Game 2 of the Eastern Finals against the Knicks. And Atlantic City just gambling away like crazy and all that, and had a hangover and all that. He had gambling problems that basically he couldn't pay back. There was a lot of problems with that, and maybe David Stern had done something to curb it. That's not completely unfounded, but yeah. But the main reason, in my mind, is the death of his father. In July of 1993, his father was going to a friend's wedding somewhere in South Carolina. Sadly, though, James Jordan would never make it. He pulled over the side of the road to rest, and 2 men took advantage of him and basically shot him to death and stole the car and all that. It was not targeted at Michael Jordan's dad. It was just basically a crime of opportunity for those two bastards. And MJ, without his father, lost his touch. His father wanted him to play baseball, and he did it for his dad. But unfortunately, his dad never got to see it. And that's sad. That is sad, sad, completely sad. And people need to know that Michael Jordan didn't want to leave the game of basketball. He did it for his father, and that's all there is to it. Plain and simple. So we get the 94 Bulls and the 94 Rockets together. It's 58 wins versus 55. So it's not half bad. Like they're almost even with each other, if you will. First on the docket is the Rockets winning 94-89. 19 from Pippen, 18 from Kukoc in 40 plus minutes. Nice. Horace Grant 14, BJ Armstrong 16, Luke Longley only 2 points in 22 minutes. Wow. Scott Williams was on the bench. JoJo English, John Paxson, Will Perdue, Pete Myers, Corey Blunt, Bill Wennington, Canadian, and Stevie Kerr, who is just an up-and-coming player for Arizona. Houston, well, 32 points from Hakeem, 15 from Otis Thorpe, 11 from Kenny Smith, and Maxwell Ori with only 8. Mario Ellie, 26 minutes off the bench. Scott Brooks, Carl Herrera, Sam Cassell, and Eric Riley. Yeah, Sam Cassell was out of back. I was going to think Sam Cassell was a college football star for Florida State, but no. I didn't play for Florida State with Charlie Ward. Game 2 saw the Rockets come narrowly close. In the final minutes, it was 92-86 after B.J. Armstrong hit a three-pointer. Kukoc gets a steal and gives it to Sky Pippen for a 3. Vernon Maxwell gets fouled by Longley. He makes 1. Kukoc makes a lay-in. Hakeem gets fouled by Pippen. He only makes 1. Tony Kukoc tied it in 94. Rockets call timeouts. And then somehow, with like 1.6 seconds, they give it to Hakeem for a reverse layup. Unfreaking believable. 96-94 is your score. 23 for Pippen, 20 from Kukoc, 21 from B.J. Armstrong. JoJo English. I don't think JoJo English played for the guys in game 1, but yeah. Steve Kerr only played 5 minutes, fell in for 3 points. I wonder if Steve Kerr actually was drafted by him. Oh, he was Cleveland and Orlando. He played for Orlando when Shaq played. Huh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't. So he was a Cavalier first. He wasn't much for the Bulls. Okay then. Steve Kerr. So anyway, the 94 Rockets, Hakeem with 29, 4 from 17, nice job. Eric Riley, I don't think I know him, but anyway, Mario Ellie, 22 points off the bench. Oops, forget that score. That score doesn't matter because Houston was supposed to play in Chicago. And unfortunately, the Bulls crushed them. 21 total points in the second quarter. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. But anyway, 14 from Otis, 13 from Hakeem. Scott Brooks, 11 points in 18 minutes. Houston. Ellie Herrera. They went with the bench. Richard Pertuska, Chris Gent, Larry Robinson, Earl Carlton, Matt Brawler. The Bulls had all their guys. 22 from Kukoc, 18 from Horace. Myers, Perdue, Wennington, Kerr, Bill Cartwright. Bill Cartwright was still on that team. Stacey King and Dave Johnson. I thought Bill Cartwright left after the third one. But anyway, the Bulls win game 3. Game 4 saw more of the same. 43 points in the fourth quarter with the Bulls, but they still lost by 5, 109-104. 31 from Hakeem. 13 points by Carlo Herrera off the bench. Ellie had 11 off the bench. That was pretty good. Meanwhile, the Bulls, 21 from Kukoc, 20 from BJ. Pippen with only 13. JoJo English, 12 points in 13 minutes off the bench. John Paxson didn't score a point in 12 minutes, so that's amazing. Paxson. JoJo English. He only played 1 year and he left. Yikes. So the Bulls are in deep trouble. They're down 3-1. Remember that it's a 2-3-2 format. And the Bulls survived game 5. They were down by 10 in the first quarter, but they still survived. 29 from Hakeem, Kenny Smith, and Mario Ellie with 14. Nice job. Eric Riley with 14 as well. BJ with 22, Scottie Pippen with 21, Scott Williams with 11. I don't think it talked about John Paxson coming off the bench somehow. But Paxson did not score a point in 1 minute. Will Purdue then score off the bench. Huh. So we go to game 6 in Houston, where we see bullshit. There's a power outage, and the Bulls won 106-96. Amazing. They're now down 3 games to. They were down 3-1. Now they force a game 7. 29 from Kukoc, 20 from Pippen, 18 from Armstrong, 16 from Grant. Not much other than that. Houston only went with 10 players playing the whole game. 10 from Marielli. Ferd Maxwell, 22 points. Elijah with only 17. So at 3-3, we got a game 7. I don't know who's going to win. Overtime. Oh my gosh. They went to double overtime, and the Rockets won. I thought the Bulls were going to give only the 4th happy ending. There's only been 3 happy endings out of 13. But yeah, now it's down to 3 out of 14. So they went to double overtime. Wow. Oops. Final minutes. It was 95-95. It was tied till 17 seconds when Hakeem hit a jump hook. But then Scottie Pippen made a layup with no time left. We tie at 97. And then it's down to the wire, 105-105. Horace Grant gets blocked by Olajuwon. And Robert Horry has a chance to seal the game, but he hits the paint. And he gets blocked by Longley. Unfortunately, the Kukoc missed the 3-pointer with 15 seconds left. So basically, it was over. And the Rockets ran out the clock. 115, 111, double overtime. Scottie Pippen plays 48 minutes of the 58 minutes. Horace Grant 47, BJ 45. Kukoc 43 minutes. Nicely done. Steve Kerr only plays 2 minutes. That's kind of pathetic, don't you think? Luke Longley almost fouled out. For the Rockets, they only used 10 players. Hakeem played 47 minutes. Ford, Maxwell, Smith, and Horry all played 40 minutes. 27 from Olajuwon. 13 rebounds. So basically, it was a marathon, man. But the Bulls lost. So I guess they would have suffered not only a finals loss, but a loss without Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan's retirement was not good for the Bulls. Not at all.